Ladies and gentlemen, on the 16th of June, the Republican Convention assembled and nominated Mr. Lincoln as their candidate for the United States Senate. And he, on that occasion, delivered a speech that laid down, as he understood it, the Republican creed and the platform for which he would stand during the contest. The principal parts of Mr. Lincoln's speech were, first, that the government could not permanently endure as both free and slave. It had to become all one or all the other. Otherwise, the Union could not continue to exist. I deliver you his opinions in almost the identical language he used. The second proposition was a crusade against the Supreme Court of the United States because of their Dred Scott decision. And an especial reason to the opposition of that decision was that Negro equality and all the benefits and rights in that clause of the Constitution of the United States, which guarantees its citizens all the privileges, benefits, and immunities, its citizens of the several states, and the Declaration of Independence having declared all men free and equal by divine law, that Negro equality was an inalienable right, and as such could not be deprived. I have confined closely to these points in my speech. And first, in regard to Mr. Lincoln saying that our government is in violation of God's law, that a house divided against itself cannot stand. Here, I assert that the uniformity of local laws and institutions is neither possible nor desirable. Our government was made on the great basis of state sovereignty, the right that each state may declare and regulate its institutions to suit itself. And that right was conferred with the understanding and the expectation that inasmuch as each locality had separate interests, they had different and distinct local laws and institutions corresponding to those interests. And our fathers who made this government, they knew that the laws well adapted to the green mountains of Vermont were unsuited for the rice plantations of South Carolina. They knew then, as we know now, that the laws that would be adapted to the beautiful prairies of Illinois would not be suited for the mining regions of California. And that in a republic as broad as this, with such a variety of soil and climate and interest, there must necessarily be a corresponding variety of local laws, a policy and institution that each right and of each state to do as it pleases. But what does Mr. Lincoln propose? A doctrine of uniformity of laws among all of our different states, a new doctrine, a doctrine never dreamed of by the likes of Washington and Madison and the framers of this government. Mr. Lincoln and the Republican Party have set themselves up as wiser than these men who made our government, which has flourished for 70 years under this principle of popular sovereignty. Again, the right of each state to do as it pleases. Suppose Mr. Lincoln's and the abolitionists of this day's doctrine had prevailed the day the Constitution was made. What would have been the result? Remember, the Union had composed, or was composed of 13 states, 12 of which were slaveholding, 1 of which was free. And do you think that that one state would have outvoted the 12 slaveholding states and have thus secured the abolition of slavery? On the other hand, would not the 12 slaveholding states have outvoted the 1 and fastened slavery by constitutional provision to every foot of the American Republic forever? You see, this doctrine, had it been used on the day our government was formed, would have forced slavery on every state, whether we have liked it or not. And now the question to determine in the state of Illinois is whether we are willing or not to enforce a doctrine upon a minority that we would have resisted with our heart's blood had it been attempted on us when we were the minority. How has the South lost her majority? How have the free states secured it? Under that operation of that principle that each of the people of each state and each territory may run its institutions and laws accordingly. Under that principle, slavery has been abolished in the states of Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania. Under that principle, the one free state has increased until from 1 out of 13 has secured the majority section of the whole Union and has the power to control the House of Representatives, the Senate, and even to elect a president without the aid of a Southern vote. And now that we have secured this power, under that principle, are we now prepared to abandon it and declare, merely because we have that power, to wage war against the Southern states and institutions until we force the abolition of slavery everywhere? You see, Mr. Lincoln draws your attention to the question of the rightfulness of slavery when Congress has no power to act upon it either way. He wishes you to discuss the merits of the Dred Scott decision when a senator under the Constitution has no power, no right to interfere in judicial tribunal. He tells you he does not like the Dred Scott decision, that he would like to reverse it. I know of no mode in which one may appeal from the Supreme Court of the United States. The Dred Scott decision was pronounced by the highest tribunal in the world. From this side of heaven, there is no way to appeal. And yet, he says he will reverse it. How will he reverse it? Will he appeal to the mob? To violence? To lynch law? He who stirs up odium and rebellion in this country against the constituted authorities, he stimulates the passion of men to violence and to mob